I know a lot of you are about to go to high school, and some of you might already be there. So I'm gonna tell the story of my true high school experience. About my teachers, relationships, and the one moment that changed everything. Hype! My high school started at the ripe year of 2019. Whoa, I meant 2017, sorry. Yes, I am an old fart. I was 13, 14 years old, and a lot of it is a blurry memory. You know, sometimes when people don't have a good time in a certain area of their life, they tend to subconsciously forget a lot of things. So this was kind of tough for me to put together. Now, I don't know if you know this, but in 2017, a little game called Fortnite came out, and it was all I was playing. I didn't do anything else but play Fortnite. My most painful class by far was biology. We were doing like photosynthesis and whatever. And you know, it was just a brainy class, and it was the one class I had a lot of trouble with. At this age, there was a lot of confusion in my life. I had so many emotions. My face and body was changing, and I didn't know how to deal with everything. When you're a teenager, your emotions are on full blast. And, you know, you're going through puberty, bro, so I'm glad that's over. I was just recovering after being super sick with Crohn's disease. I got diagnosed at 13 years old, and I missed a lot of school during these years. Weeks and weeks would go by where I would just be staying home recovering because it was pretty bad. And it affected me in a lot of ways too, because I spent so much time away from my friends. I felt isolated, but in many ways it was good also, and I'll get to that later. Now, if you know me, I talk a lot of crap about school, but in the beginning, I actually did quite well. I've pretty much always had good grades up until high school, and even though I didn't like biology, I was doing pretty okay. As it got harder through the years, things started to change, but I'll get into that later. Back to Fortnite, I got my first victory royale. Me and my boy had been grinding for so long, and we were in a duos match, and we freaking won. This is when I started taking Fortnite clips and putting them together and just making cool stuff. Biology was okay, I was doing good in my classes, and I enjoyed school. Not only that, I had a little something going with a girl, and you know, young love, baby. Feels great.
Why are we still here?
And boom! 10th grade arrived. Now, I was never too popular in high school. I knew everyone and everyone knew me, but really my friend groups were like 3 or 4 people at a time, and I had a lot of falling outs throughout the years, which sucks because then you go from 4 friends to 2. And my friend groups were nerdy. At this time, I was really into Fallout 4. I loved this game. I spent so many hours playing, and when I was sick at home, all I would do was play games. That's when I played through every single Halo game, Fallout 4, grinding, and most of my time went to traveling with my parents or school. That was pretty much all I did. And it was around this time when I first tried streaming Fortnite. This is when I started to understand how to set up gear, software, like getting into the world of content creation. But not everything was bright and peachy because I met a little thing called math class. Math was by far my worst subject. Like I said, in the early days, it was okay, I got by, but then it got a lot harder, and my school was not easy. Every day after school for an hour, I would do math tutoring, and this continued for like 3 years. I did a lot of studying, a lot of trying, but nothing in my brain was gonna wrap around it fully. And I felt stupid. I felt like I was constantly disappointing my teachers. I would get my test results back, my grades, and they would be worse than everyone else's in the class. And I remember feeling like I just couldn't do it. There was something wrong with me, and it felt horrible. And I don't think it's fair for a lot of kids to feel this way, because I never want to be a bad influence for you guys. I think school is great, and I think if you want to go to certain professions in your life, you have to go to college, and you should do a really good job. Every summer, I would go visit my family in Canada. This was awesome, and we were always doing silly stuff. These are probably my most fond memories of high school, is being out of high school. Oh yeah, and you remember my cousin George? That was him. I've known this child a long time. And in 10th grade is when I first started getting into fitness. Now, I signed up because it was half my dad wanting me to sign up too. And when I went to the gym, I wasn't eating properly, and I just didn't really care about it, so I wasn't seeing huge changes in my body. Not only that, for our PE class, we needed to do some type of workout at home, so I just did like planks. But this is also when I began to learn something else. The guitar, baby! Yes, I do play guitar. I played for about 2 years, and I haven't played since. But this was the first time I picked up an instrument, and honestly, I loved it. When I got back home to Vietnam, I got into Fortnite heavy. Not only that, when the Galaxy skin came out, I went to the Samsung store and grinded Fortnite on a Samsung phone just to get that skin. But they patched it and it didn't work. Finally, I got a trainer and my gym journey began. And I didn't like it one bit. Like I said, I went for like 2 years, but I didn't change much at all because it was half-hearted and I wasn't eating properly. Gym is 80% eating. What you see right now is like the last 10 months of me grinding the gym. Before this, 10 months ago, I was really skinny, but I ate a lot of food and I trained a lot. So now I'm dedicated. I was a pretty lazy teenager and my grades started to reflect that. If I didn't care about what I was doing, I just wouldn't do it. And that's not really a good thing. I kept practicing guitar, kept hitting the gym every day after school, and I would just be tired. But I was getting better at guitar, so that's good. Then I cut my hair short again, which was a look. Then I was Harry Potter for Halloween. Merry Christmas, here was my Nerf gun collection, and then, what's that? Boom! 11th grade! So right about now, there was a little bug in my head that had been growing for a long time called making videos. I had watched so many YouTubers as a kid growing up and always loved the idea of being able to make gaming videos for people to watch. I was obsessed with the idea of like, imagine checking your phone and having comments to reply to, like people who love you that you can talk to every day. That's what was so enticing for me. But I didn't know how to act on it. I didn't know where to start or what to make videos on. So this just kind of stayed in the background of my head for a long time. Of course, I did my projects here and there, but it didn't really become something until later. Now, let's talk about girls. Throughout my high school career, I had a couple flings here and there. You know, they don't call me J-Man for no reason. But for real, I did have like a couple things, you know, just nothing serious. And then about 2 serious relationships. But how serious can a high school relationship get? You know what I mean? But they were fun. And they were definitely a big part of me maturing and becoming the man I am today. Math was getting increasingly harder. And I was struggling to keep up. I remember my math teacher was super cool. And I hated disappointing him, but I just wasn't delivering in class. I was missing a lot of the basics from missing school, not paying attention, whatever. So as the math got harder, there was so much I didn't know, and me catching up would have been insane amounts of work. So I always felt lost. Not only that, there was a lot of drama in the friend group at the time. People making fun of each other, people saying mean things, just like, as a teenager, everything is a much bigger deal in your head than it actually is. And I only realized that after high school. So there were arguments, there were fights, people joining and leaving the group chat. I was getting quite tall though. I think this is probably when I started gaining some height. Around this time, I got into softball and it was really fun. I did a school show, and guitar was still my main hobby. I really enjoyed it, and I practiced every single day. My free periods during school or during lunch, I would go to the music room, plug in my guitar, and I could just quietly sit by myself and play. I ended up starting a band with one of my boys called Maple Funk, and I won't show you any of the music we made just out of respect for him, but it was some pretty cool stuff, some grungy rock stuff, and I listened to a lot of Weezer. Let me know if we have any Weezer listeners in chat today. And the YouTube thing wasn't really kicking in, but we'll get to that a bit later. I did some cool music projects, just playing on my own. We had prom, which is always a good time, and my grades were down the drain. You see, I was pretty much good at one class, and that was English. I think I have a knack for storytelling. I think I'm good at deciphering text and finding the deeper meaning behind things, but every other class was bad. I had C's and D's and F's. That was my alphabet. I went to see my cousins again in Canada. I still continued gaming. I was sans for Halloween. I don't know what this Halloween costume was. It was just an amalgamation. I did another show with a much bigger audience this time. That was nerve-wracking. I haven't seen a lot of these clips in a long time. And you know, I was sort of getting my look together. As I got older, my face changed, my hair changed. You know, facial hair didn't come till later, but definitely not how I look now. But I was getting better.
I'm better. I am better.
And then I started something that changed my life forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Goat Milk by Julian El Shakia. This was my podcast that I had just started for fun. I interviewed people that I knew, and I wanted to give people an insight to what it was like not being from a country, but growing up and living there your whole life, aka third culture kids. That is what I am. I'm Canadian, my dad is from Lebanon, and I lived in Asia my entire life, and I still do. And that's when it all broke loose because I fell in love with making these videos. It was so cool having a brand and having stickers, and I made a filter for Instagram, and just having something that represented me, and it was just a cool thing that I had was awesome. And people in class, like, they were like, oh yeah, Julian's a kid that makes videos. Like, it wasn't really anything, you know what I mean? And that's when I started making videos on videos on videos, and I was addicted. And then, boom, 12th grade, COVID happened. COVID was an interesting time. My graduation was virtual. I watched a video of myself walking up and accepting my diploma from my bedroom on a Zoom call. That's just how it is. A lot of people were like, oh my God, we were scammed and yada yada. I was so happy it was on a Zoom call, and I was so ready to be done with high school. I didn't give a crap about the ceremony. Oh, high school, I'm gonna miss you guys. Get out of here, man. Get me out of this place. I'm sure my timeline is very off here, but look, I'm doing my best. Let's continue. During COVID, I did a lot of biking. In the first 2 weeks after it was announced, you know, the COVID update, we were out of school for 2 weeks. And then everything went virtual. Every class was a Zoom call, which I slept through. I'm sorry to my psychology teacher, I slept through all those classes. I didn't have ChatGPT at the time. It wasn't a thing. But let's just say I got my resources from online. And I played a lot of Minecraft with my cousin Ethan. Like, a lot of Minecraft. My diet was not ideal. I ate a lot of McDonald's, and this probably contributed badly to my health. But I upgraded my camera gear. I got a stabilizer, a new camera. You know, I was really investing into my video making process. And I got a drone. By the way, there's videos for everything I'm talking about right now. My whole YouTube channel is a timeline of my life. If you go way back, you'll see everything I'm talking about. My friends and I had diminished to a small group of about 4 people, and we hung out daily. We were pretty inseparable. These guys were my OGs, my day ones, my homies, and my grades were officially down the toilet. I was getting called into classes all the time after school, meetings with teachers about improvement. Parent-teacher conference was the worst because my teacher was telling my parents to their faces how badly I was doing. But I just didn't care about school. And I know it sounds bad, and it's not something I want you guys to do at all. I want you guys to do amazing at school, and I want you to lock in and get good grades. But for me, I used every free period to edit my videos. I just wasn't invested because it didn't make sense to me. Nothing I wanted to do had anything with what I was learning. And everyone else seemed to be doing so much better than me, so it's like, why am I even here? But this did become a big problem. The only paper I've ever cared about getting is my high school diploma. Because in life, your college diploma isn't as important as your high school diploma. Most jobs won't accept you for anything unless you've graduated high school. And at the time, I didn't know I was going to be a YouTuber. I didn't know this was going to take off, you know what I mean? So my only worry was to pass my final exams. And this is where things started getting bad. Final exams were the last hump I needed to get over at the end of the year, and my grades were showing that I was not going to pass whatsoever. I was growing up through this time. I was going through a lot of changes in my head, in my body, and I was finding out who I am because I hadn't really lived or done something to be super proud of, to find out, say, this is what I do and this is what I like doing. I hadn't really done anything to be super proud of yet. Like, I didn't know what my identity was because I hadn't sunk in enough time into one thing to know that this is what I do and this is my contribution to the world. My life was guitar, making videos on the side, gaming, and my friends. That was basically it. Every free period, if I had one in the morning, I would take a nap, and it was time to wrap up the year and graduate. I got through French class. In 12th grade, I took a French class. It was like I speak French, but it was a very technical French class. I got through that whole thing with Google Translate, by the way. And it was around this time, during Christmas, I got my VR headset from my dad. One day in math class, I'm browsing Reddit and I find Gorilla Tag. And a few days later, I made the infamous first Gorilla Tag video. And now my YouTube started to take off, which means all of my focus was into making videos. Not one thing was more important to me than making YouTube videos. But this was a problem. You see, this was happening at the exact time that I'm supposed to be locking in and getting ready for final exams. And what this means is that there were a lot of arguments at home. My parents obviously were not about to let me put everything into YouTube when high school is the most important thing right now. How are they supposed to know that I had a future in YouTube or that it actually could become something? So I totally understand where they were coming from. But inside of me, I'm like, I couldn't cough up an answer. Yes, I know exams are coming. Yes, I know it's a big deal, but the switch in my brain that said, oh crap, I gotta care about this and I gotta work hard and get this done. That didn't activate. It wasn't there for me. But what was there for me is, oh crap, I gotta make videos and catch this momentum that I have right now. Anyways, after last minute crunching, studying, and getting as many half points as I could by showing my work, putting my name on the paper, just skimming by, I passed and I graduated from high school. I barely made it past, but whatever, dude. I got the paper and I was done. And after that, I never thought about school again. I moved to Canada for about 2 years to figure out if I was going to college or whatever, but YouTube was already way bigger. Now, 3 to 4 years later, I have this channel thanks to you guys. I have a team that helps me with everything. I remember thinking about talking to my own community, and it's come true. And we're only getting started. If there's one thing I can leave you with, please do your best at school, pay attention, and work hard. The time for you to create your own things and do what you really want to do will come. But right now, you gotta lock in and make sure you do good in school. Make your parents proud, make your teachers proud, because you'll feel so good inside. And once you realize, like, I did this, I can do anything else after that. And if you don't want to go to college, I don't know. I think if you want to become a doctor, go to college. Lawyer, go to college. But if there's something you want to discover on your own, take the time to really do it. Don't half-ass it. Really do it. Put your mind to something and grind. Work harder than anyone else around you, because that's the only way you're going to turn something you like into something that you do. And I also want to say, I'm not a total idiot. I just don't think school was for me. I'm very smart in other ways, in more practical ways, business ways, creative ways. But I just wasn't very good with the textbooks. And lastly, I still have no girlfriend. So thanks for watching.
Yo, what's up, Curly Gang?
Whoa, were you about to click off this video without watching another one? Or maybe not even subscribe? Or not even join the Curly Gang for amazing perks? Or not even join the Discord because it's full of cool things and cool people? How could you do this to me?